Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all. O Street Carpet. 1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $24.62 per hour, which grows to $28.97 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $33.36 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric is the call I make when I have a need for plumbing services. Whether it's for my home or office, if I need a repair to a water heater, softener, or even my garbage disposal, I know I can count on Action to help. In one simple call, their amazing customer service team promptly schedules a service call, often getting to my needs within a day. Action delivers honest, quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
When it comes to joining the Nebraska Army National Guard, you've heard it all before. College, healthcare, signing bonus. But joining is so much more than that. It's setting yourself up for a new and better chapter of your life. I'm Staff Sergeant Paul White, and because of the Nebraska Army National Guard, I'm in control of my career. And when the workday ends, I get to come home to my family. Write your next chapter by joining the Nebraska Army National Guard. For more information, schedule a meeting with me, Staff Sergeant Paul White at nationalguard.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
The Lincoln forecast for today, a chance of snow and blowing snow, especially this morning. Otherwise cloudy and windy this afternoon. We'll see a high of around 23. Tonight, mainly cloudy and cold. We'll see a low of around 9. And tomorrow, mostly sunny skies in the morning and a slight chance of snow in the afternoon. We'll see a high of around 33. I'm meteorologist Kyle Tucker from 92.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weeknights. Harrison Arns running the board back here at the Ticket Studios on 1040 O Street. If you guys ever want to join the show, feel free to do so. Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685. You can always put in your input, your opinions through that route. And again, if you want to put a face to the voice or the Allo VIP line graphic, that is, as we'll have Demorne Pierce now joining us shortly. Watch the streams on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Allo channel 961. Again, channel 961 no longer on the channel 951, 961. That's all across Nebraska as well. So if you got Allo cable, you got the ticket on channel 961. But without further ado, let's go ahead and bring him in. Demorne Pierce-Snell. We talked a little bit while the college football championship game was going live, but how's it going today?
Going okay, other than it being cold.
If we're getting to that miserable point of the year, and for all those who are out there in your car driving, be safe. It's still slick, and as these temperatures hit below freezing, there's only so much salt they can put on the roads before jeopardizing this road's own integrity. So shout out to all the snow workers out there, but we're definitely getting to that. And we got some -2s over the weekend. The highs are going to be in single digits for, I think, pretty much here after Thursday, I believe, we're single digits all the way out until next week. So definitely bundle up if you're out there. But on the bright side, there is basketball, and that is inside at the Vault. And we will have the postgame for that show. They got Zach Edey, the Boilermakers, #1 Purdue, playing the Huskers at home, a 10-1 team at home as it sits right now this season. But Demorne Pierce-Snell, let's go ahead and dive in to the college football championship. You had #2 Washington Huskies fall to the Michigan Wolverines, 13-34. I know it went kind of in the way you predicted it, but just what are your quick overall thoughts on that game?
That was a physical performance by Michigan. Their defense, I think, was was dominant. And I mean, they say defense wins championships, and they definitely did for their case. Their offense wasn't as successful, other than Corum late in the game getting off. But I mean, it was a good outing for the Michigan Wolverines defense.
Yeah, and who surprised you the most out there? For me, it was Edwards. He kind of broke that game for Michigan early in that game. I don't think Washington was ready for it. The way they were fitting their gaps in their assignments, it felt like they're ready for the patient running of Blake Corum. You see Blake Corum in the backfield. He's a very patient runner. He'll typically go to the hole that's his assigned and just trust his offensive line to break that hole open, and he'll fall forward, for 5, 6, 7 yards at a time. Edwards, not patient at all. He'll cut it back and run into wide open gaps. VC's open space. He'll head that way. And it looked like the speed of Edwards, too, was not something that Washington was ready for, especially on their pursuit angles. That one he had in the first quarter where he broke it for a long touchdown run. It looked like Washington, the pursuit angles they were taking, it didn't even seem to me that Washington was fully aware of Edwards' speed. Mm-hmm. But what'd you just think about that Michigan running attack that they had with the unlikely, I shouldn't say unlikely, but a bit as surprising for most people that it was, more of the Edwards game than it was the Corum game?
To me, I just think that's, Big Ten physical football. As I said, during the show, Washington was struggling tackling Texas. And Texas, was getting what they wanted, on the ground, and just would end up, shooting themselves in the foot. Early on and, later on in the game, you just seeing the effort of how hard it was, to get some of those guys continuously on the ground. I mean, Edwards was a spark plug. Somebody needed to do it, and they didn't care where it came from. Congrats to him. So, if he would have had a little bit better second half, he might have been an MVP. Honestly, he was a dark horse. Corum wasn't, as much until late in the game, but because of Edwards breaking the game open and just having a full-on assault on their defense. It gave Michigan the confidence, and once Michigan gets the lead, they play even better with protecting the league. So shout out to them.
Yeah, and you're definitely right. Blake Corum, I'm calling it the Edwards game, but Blake Corum still led the team in rushing yards, 134 yards, 2 touchdowns, 21 carries. So still a great game from him. But to me, it was just when you play a Michigan team, and if they're able to get points on you early and efficiently, that puts you in a world of trouble. They're too good at time of possession. They're too good at running the ball. And I'll give Washington some credit. They actually limited Michigan on those third downs. They didn't keep them to a whole lot of third and manageables. I believe Michigan might have only gotten a couple of them. Let me double check here real quick. Yeah, third down efficiency. They only got one. Michigan 1 for 10. Washington 2 for 14. This is the other part of this game for Washington that I think is probably a little bit sour on Husky fans this morning. I don't think Washington played their best game. You can argue where it fell apart, but watching that Washington Huskies team, where do you think they fell apart in the most critical areas? Whether it's schematically, whether maybe you just don't think skill-wise they were good enough to ever play with Michigan in the trenches, but where do you think the game really started to tilt in the wrong direction for Washington?
The offensive line started strong, and then by the end of the game, it was just all bad. I don't know if they just weren't used to the speed, the power. They missed opportunities. The quarterback missed opportunities, and I'm not, blaming it all on him.
He had some open throws he missed. I know what you're talking about. He had a tight end wide open on the flat on a third and long and a very crucial need to move the chains. And I think he threw it into an interception instead. So
Michigan just didn't allow him to get, somewhat comfortable to where he can, show what he typically does. And, at times their offense was moving and then it would just stall out. It's not that they weren't hitting. It's just the big plays that they needed to that would help with some of those knockout shots or help with some of those big body blows. They just weren't connecting on them. And then it just made the game even harder. And it got away from them late. Michigan's offense was stalling for the third and majority of the third and a little bit of the fourth quarter. I mean, they weren't hitting on all cylinders. The Washington defense was getting them off the field. It's just the Washington offense just couldn't sustain drives, and they were getting to the quarterback. And I mean, he walked off the field limping and in pain. So I mean, it's a combination of him not having his best game, and the offensive line of not doing their best job of protecting him.
Yeah, and you saw a lot of that. That's, to me, this is just where Michigan's defense was that good. Michigan, defense wins championships. That's what Michigan had. They didn't allow anyone to get over 25 points all season long. They go 15-0. Their defense really, in my opinion, being the key factor in that. When you're just not giving up anything defensively, not allowing teams to get even breaking 28 points, that's just tough to beat. And a Washington team who has all the offensive talent in the world, you would think, would be one of those teams that could find a way to get over that 25-point threshold, which wouldn't even matter. You would have needed 35 if you want to win the game, 34 to go into OT. But 13 points that's rough. That's not the look you want from what you think is a high-powered offense. I think it just speaks to how good Michigan's defense was all season long. And Michael Penix Jr. for numbers, 27 for 51. Yes, he still threw for 255 yards, but not great efficiency. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. That's, Michael Penix Jr., he missed some throws. Part of that's Michigan's just really good on getting pressure, especially if they know you're in a throwing situation. And then wide receiver communication as well. I just don't think Washington showed up playing their best ball. And it had to be that Michael Penix Jr. game where he puts it all on the line and everyone's talking about, man, how did this guy not win the Heisman? To me, that's how they were going to win, and it just wasn't that case at all. But speaking about this Michigan team, you look at a guy across from Washington in the quarterback position, J.J. McCarthy, only 10 for 18, 140 yards, didn't have to do anything crazy to get this team to win. Seeing a team that doesn't necessarily have your quote-unquote elite quarterback, J.J. McCarthy's good. I'm not saying he's bad, but he's not your Caleb Williams, your Drake May, your Jaden McDaniels. He's just a good quote-unquote game manager, if you want to use the Cam Newton term. But does that kind of set a blueprint for some of these programs going forward, that maybe the way to build the team is through the trenches, and the quarterback, when we find a good one, it'll fall, but let's not prioritize the quarterback as the end-all be-all?
Most definitely. I think that has won championships and lost championships. The big boys up front, is the first line of defense, and the first line to attack. And if you don't have those for sure things, I mean, if you don't have an offensive line, the run game gets affected, and if the run game is ineffective, the passing game is ineffective. So, and it's like that on defense. If you don't have a solid D line that can get stops or create turnovers or stop the run or get pressure, they're going to run right through you. You can run it inside, outside. It doesn't matter. And then, you can bomb over Baghdad over top on the back end. So most definitely. And I think a lot of the better, or the top upper teams, I think they have, at least a solid up front for sure on one side, if not both sides.
Yeah, just look at the teams that win it through the past years. It's been Georgia, dominant in the trenches. Alabama, dominant in the trenches. Michigan, dominant in the trenches. And all of these teams that are making these runs outside of a few fluke years, where TCU gets in there, that turned out to be one of the worst college football championship games ever, but they still found a way to make themselves in there. But I do think that we talk about the quarterback so much to the point where it completely derails, what the real focus and goal of the team is to be. If we have Dylan Raiola and he's playing everything that we hoped he could have been, we're still not beating Michigan this year. You still don't have the defense to stop that type of attack. So I do think this might change the play a little bit on how teams develop, especially if you look at Michigan and how they've done in recruiting. They've done good in recruiting, but if you're looking at the experts, apparently not as good as the Georgias and the Alabamas when you're looking at true star ratings, even Ohio State at times, but they've just done it through development and building up through the trenches. Does Nebraska need to continue to model themselves after a Michigan type style of team, where it's time of possession, or as we've kind of hinted at before, with two elite 11 QBs and Dylan Raiola and Daniel Kalen. We even saw Jim Harbaugh do this early in Michigan, where spread it out a little bit, more of a spread offense where we're going to attack you in a more downhill attack. And then he kind of flipped in his own tenure at Michigan, going back to the grinded out style. Does Nebraska try to mimic what Michigan's doing, or do you think we see a little bit more spread from this offense with the kind of caliber of players we're starting to get on board?
I would say a little bit more of spreading it out. And I say that because it'll make things a bit easier on the quarterback to see the field, and having, a defense cover every blade of grass versus, okay, now you got everything bunched in and you can send all types of stunts and all types of twists on the edge. And so I think spreading it out, getting the ball out of his hands quick, safe throws until he gets, comfortable with the speed, comfortable with, what teams are going to get, comfortable with the next plan at the next level. It shouldn't take terribly long or too long, hopefully, probably about a month in, of real game time stuff. And then about maybe once you hit your second Big Ten opponent, everything should be pretty much set. But, rely on what, each individual quarterback strengths are, and, just building off of that and everything like that. If that's moving outside of the pocket, then do that. If that's RPO, that's fine. If that's, high-low concepts with, the tight ends, with the other young tight end that's coming in and everything like that's fine and dandy. Just getting the ball out quick to where, things are slowing down for him. He's getting in a rhythm. He's getting consistent. He's building confidence. And then every now and then, take the shot downfield. They got a young offensive line group coming in that I think for years to come will be helpful. You got a young offensive line group here that, everybody kind of got to play this year, which will be better for him in the long run. Mm-hmm. It's just going to take some time. I don't think that they're going to be the number one in the Big Ten or jump up anything significantly in this year. It's hard with a quarterback with a freshman quarterback. Johnny Manziel wasn't a true freshman that came in and played in one-on-one. I want to say I think he might have been a redshirt freshman. So at least he had 2 years before he really went off for things and everything like that. So just as long as things are simple, consistent, he gets his rhythm, he builds his confidence, I think we'll be fine.
Yep, and I think that's the way they exactly need to go. That's been the problem with me in Nebraska football for far too long now, is we constantly complain about the quarterback when you watch the tape, and it feels like, well, we did just kind of put the entire game on his shoulders in terms of running the ball, throwing the ball, and doing everything in between. I don't want that situation with Dylan Raiola. I want to utilize our best players, but we got to have more flexibility on what we can run with those guys, because it got into situations where with Harburg, I get it. It made sense with his kind of style, why he'd run the ball a lot, but you'd run into situations with Purdy and Sims, and it just felt like the same thing all the time. It's like we put the entire games on the shoulder. Adrian Martinez was probably the best example of putting too much on one player's shoulders, whether we're going to win or lose the game. And I do think, as you're talking about with this line, you have enough veteran presence, but as you said, you got enough youth in the room as well, that if those guys can continue to develop. And one thing that gives me hope about Matt Rule is you don't see a ton of his guys hitting the portal or even declaring for the NFL draft for that reason. That's kind of what Michigan had going for him. Corum, by any means, had no reason to come back. He could have declared for the draft if he really wanted to and found himself a home in the NFL, but he trusted Jim Harbaugh and he got a national championship out of it. That's kind of what you hope to see with Nebraska as Matt Rule tries to develop this program, gets the belief that if guys stick around, we can model you into an NFL caliber player, and as a program in itself, get you to some bowl games. It's been since 2016, but that's the direction that this team needs to start heading. And they got all the star players now, right? Now the next level is if you want to be Michigan, you want to be Ohio State, you want to be any of those elite teams in recent years, it's the depth behind it. You can't just have your 4 and 5 stars. You got to have some real depth underneath. I don't care if they came in as a 3-star, no stars, but how you develop those guys behind the scenes is what to me makes those elite teams elite. Because when you watched Michigan, this is what impresses me about Michigan. I don't know how many people realize it, but that defensive front that they have is rotating in and out all game. It doesn't seem to matter which 4 guys, 5 guys are up front. They're rotating in and out, and they have an impact with fresh legs on about every single down. That's, to me, that next level of greatness is when you can just keep rotating guys in and out with fresh legs, and you're so confident in their ability that there's not going to be that huge fall off, that you can just rest your key players and get the young guys in and continue to rotate them. And that's what you saw with Michigan all night yesterday. Is it didn't really matter who was on that defensive front. They were going to get stops regardless. But with that being said, we do got to go ahead and throw it to our first break here on the Don't Punt Hour. I'm here with DeMornay Pearsonell on the Allo VIP line. Allo, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with a local heart. I'm Harrison, back at the Ticket 1040 Studios on O Street. We'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and we'd like to say thank you for a record-setting 2023. So let's start off 2024 with the bang. They've got huge trade-in bonuses and finance bonusing happening right now on our new inventory at Koppel. Get up to $8,500 off select new models at Koppel. So if you're shopping for a new GM product, go to our website at koppelcars.com. You won't believe the discounts. Make that short money-saving drive down 144th Street. You'll be glad you did. Must have trade and finance with roof credit. Stock number G2076684.
Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 15 years in Lincoln and across Nebraska by offering a number of services. From group homes to independent living resources and job training, you'll find the support that allows people to live fulfilling lives. They're also hiring. If you're looking for a rewarding career supporting people with developmental disabilities, you can check out open positions along with learning more about services at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices.
Prashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Husker fans, your 4th-ranked Nebraska wrestling team needs you to pack the Bob Devaney Sports Center on Friday, January 12th for their Big Ten home opener and a top 5 matchup against number 2 Iowa. The duel will begin at 6:30, and the first 300 fans will receive a Nebraska wrestling shirt. For more information or to secure your tickets, visit huskers.com/tickets or call 402-472-3111.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solution. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
In a world where quality tools make the dream work, let Sunbelt Rentals be your unseen team member. Shine bright with our top-notch equipment dependable for any project size. Witness the difference with tool rental in Lincoln, Nebraska. It's more than just a tool, it's your companion for the perfect job. With Sunbelt Rentals, you're never alone in your project journey. Brighter tasks, better results. Sunbelt Rentals, tools that empower you.
At Southeast Community College, community is our middle name. Our continuing education classes offer personal interest, traffic safety and licensing, online learning, and adult education classes across Southeast Nebraska, or online in your own home. Learn to ride a motorcycle, how to start a small business, how to dance, or take a course to advance in your current career path. See the full schedule of continuing education classes online at southeast.edu/continuing. SCC, your path to possible.
As the chief buffet officer here at Pizza Ranch, I get all kinds of buffet questions. Here's one from Cole.
Is there a real cactus in your cactus bread?
Great question, Cole. No, there is no cactus in our cactus bread, just sweet cinnamony streusel. It's on our buffet every day, along with pizza, chicken, ice cream, and all your other favorites. Even better, at least for your parents, kids eat free on Tuesday nights. And don't worry, Cole, there's no coal in our coleslaw either.
Pizza Ranch, everyone's favorite buffet.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast for today, a chance of snow and blowing snow, especially this morning. Otherwise cloudy and windy this afternoon. We'll see a high of around 23. Tonight, mainly cloudy and cold. We'll see a low of around 9. And tomorrow, mostly sunny skies in the morning, and a slight chance of snow in the afternoon. We'll see a high of around 33. I'm meteorologist Kyle Tucker from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Babe, pack your bags. We're going to Vegas.
Vegas?
We just got the estimate from the wedding caterer, and we're going to have to elope.
Actually, Members Owned Credit Union is offering no-fee home equity lines of credit. We can borrow what we need with equity from the house.
Wait, so we can keep the bacon-wrapped dates for the cocktail hour?
We can keep the bacon-wrapped dates. From wedding bells to trekking the globe and everything in between, capture your dreams your way with a no-fee Members Owned Credit Union home equity line of credit. Learn more at membersownedheloc.org. Limitations may apply. Equal housing lender.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weeknights. I'm Harrison Arns running the board back at the 1040 Ticket Studios here on O Street. And again, if you guys ever want to join the show, Sarter Heyman text line, that's 402-464-5685. And if you want to put a face to the voice or the Allo VIP line graphic, that is Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Allo channel 961. No longer 951. That is channel 961 if you got Allo cable out there. But nonetheless, we'll dive into some Nebraska hoops on this segment, maybe some NBA as well, because we do have Purdue today. That is number 1 Purdue. They will be playing Nebraska at home in the vault. And this Nebraska team, if it's going to give you some hope, has been very good at home. Obviously, the road game against Wisconsin, it was tough. You call it great shooting from Wisconsin. But again, that's what great teams do. They're probably going to shoot the ball better than most. It's up to you to play a little bit better on defense, make that extra effort on the closeouts. Don't give them that space to ever feel comfortable. And Purdue's very good at this. They have a team that's going to work it inside out. They have guys that are great moving on the perimeter. If Zach Edey does happen to get the ball inside, you got to stay glued to the guys on the three-point line because they're going to move around, look for those open gaps, maybe a backdoor cut for an easy look at the rim as well. But this is a good Purdue team. They're going to play at the pace they want to play at. I haven't seen anyone outside of Northwestern in that one game, and even then, it just like Northwestern was shooting the ball very well, be able to slow down or speed up Purdue's pace. They're pretty indicative on how they want to play, and it's tough to kind of push them in any certain direction. Heading into this game, as again, we have DeMornay Pearsonell, host of the show on the Allo VIP line. Looking at this game, DeMornay facing a number 1 Purdue team. You're going to have eyes on this game. It's at home. What are some of the keys for victory for this Nebraska team in order to slow down Zach Edey and the Purdue offense that seems to run through him? And then offensively as well, what do you hope to see and what do you want to see in order for this Husker team to get a victory tonight?
To be a little aggressive. Put the pressure, bring the pressure to Purdue. As you said it earlier, they like to kind of run at their own pace and everything like that. But, apply pressure, get to the basket, get them in foul trouble, kind of throw them and get them out of sync. I think if they do that enough and make them uncomfortable, then you're making it more towards a game that will fall in favor for us instead of Purdue.
Yeah, and DeMornay, you were a basketball player growing up, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I played a little bit, nothing too crazy. I was in love with football more.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, just looking at this Purdue team, it's a team that we just saw Illinois push them close. You saw Northwestern beat them. So that's 2 Big Ten teams that have had some answers that you can go ahead and scout and see what did these guys do to make Purdue so uncomfortable to where the game got pushed to the wire in the way that it did. For Nebraska, to me, the key is in rink mast. He's got no knee brace on today. As shout out to some of the ticket talents out there, giving us updates on information. No knee brace from Rink Mass, so that's pretty good news on how his injury is feeling. If he's not even wearing a brace, he must feel back to 100%, if not pretty damn close to it. And then, of course, you look on the Purdue side of things, they're pretty much fully healthy, not a whole lot of injuries there. But the reason why I think it's the Rink Mass game is he's going to have that matchup with Edey. Outside, I'm sure they'll probably bring doubles down there to help, although that is a little scary as well. Because if you look at that Wisconsin game in Indiana, this is starting to become a little bit of a problem for Nebraska's defense. Is Indiana, I know we beat Indiana, but Indiana, Wisconsin, they've been very successful at pecking away at how Nebraska likes to double the inside by getting that weak side defender, having to match him up with whoever their power forward is at that position. You saw Wisconsin do it a bunch. On top of the great shooting, I think that's how they won that game, was taking advantage of a defense that is going to overcommit to the post. But with Zach Edey, that still might be your best option. I'm not saying they need to get away from it, but it is something to watch. How does Purdue attack Nebraska's double on the inside? Because Wisconsin got some notes from it. Indiana got some notes from it. I don't doubt that Purdue's not watching tape. They'll probably have some tricks up their sleeves as well. But when you look at Zach Edey, you're saying be aggressive. What does that mean to be aggressive? Does that mean you're just going in there trying to get him into foul trouble early?
Early, yeah. You know, he's 7'4", 300 pounds. Like, that's crazy. So, you know, get him. I don't think, you know, he's comfortable with certain movements and everything like that. But, you know, get him out of his comfort zone, get him, you know, moving and everything like that. If that's, you know, attacking the rim on one dribble and going up, get him to, you know, commit the hard fouls and everything like that. I think, you know, 2 quick fouls early on and everything like that might not make him as aggressive. So, you know, attacking the paint, you know, floaters, mid-range jump shots, get him to actually, you know, protect and defend, you know, shot faking, get him to jump up and go for things. And like I said, you know, once he's off his feet and everything like that, go up and get the foul. If you kind of, you know, get him on the bench and everything like that, then, you know, the offense has to figure a way out to move things. Now, you know, the upper hand. I mean, you know, I know they have a few other, you know, tree guys. I think they got another 7'2" guy. Yeah. I think he's a freshman, as a matter of fact. But still, I mean, getting him to throw, to get that guy to be thrown in there and everything like that, and you speeding up the tempo or whatnot at home, you know, the energy will be wild and crazy. And like I said, so if you do that, you just need a few things to, you know, fall in your favor, and you know, upset could happen.
Yeah, I'm looking it up here. It's Will Berg. They got one of their backup centers. He's coming in. So Zach Edey, they're obviously their starter. He's coming in at a whopping 7'4", 300 pounds. And their backup, not too far from it, 7'2", 255 pounds. So you got 2 7-footers willing to go at any moment. I know Will Berg, their backup, he's a redshirt freshman. I don't think he'll actually get any minutes. He's more of a real deep backup guy. But that's the thing with Purdue. They got size. They always have size. And this year, they have some good playmaking on the three-point shot as well. I think if you're Nebraska, the reason I keep talking about Rink Mass is he's going to be the guy that's going to have to get Purdue out of sync. I think if there's going to be on this team that's going to cause Edey a little bit of discomfort in terms of matchups, it'd have to be Rink Mass just trying to pull him out, stretch him out as much as you can. If Rink Mass could start this game just hitting a couple from deep, I think that can have a big ripple effect as the game goes on. He doesn't have to take a bunch of them, but just to show Edey, like, if you don't come up here and defend me on the 3-point line, I will make you pay for it. To me, that's the key. If you don't have a center that can stretch the floor against Purdue, it's most likely going to be a long night. Because if you have a center that's kind of stuck in the block, that's exactly where Edey wants to be. He's a great help defender. He's not going to have too much problem playing help defense, being comfortable. You're not going to put a lot of energy on his legs. He's just going to be sitting down on the block where he's comfortable. So this is a lot of pressure, I think, on Rink Mass. Outside of Rink Mass, who do you think needs to have a big game tonight if this Nebraska team wants to upset the number 1 team in the country?
Ooh, I think it's a combination. I think, you know, both of the guards need to have big games. Hopefully, I can't think of his last name.
Lawrence, the
short point.
Jamarcus Lawrence, the point guard.
Yes.
Yeah, he's been playing a lot better too as of late. So that hopefully that continues.
Hopefully, you know, the threes are falling, the mid ranges are falling to get them, you know, out to actually guard and have to, move their feet. Hopefully, it's not one of those things to where we ran kind of into things with Creighton. Hopefully, that they can and hopefully be on fire. Hopefully, like I said, just come out hot, hitting shots. This thing starting off well. Like I said, you're at home. The crowd is going to be with you. It's going to be an electric, arena and whatnot. So, I mean, why not, have your best showing in the vote?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pressure game, right? This is what drives me nuts about watching this team is I think they're a good team, but this is your third opportunity, right? You got another ranked opponent, a top 25 opponent, not just the top 25, the number one team heading to your place at the vault. If you want to get the respect that you think this program deserves, you're going to have to start taking some of these wins away from these great teams. It would have been arguably easier against a ranked Creighton team or a ranked Wisconsin team, but unfortunately, you dropped both of those. So now you got the number one team in the country heading to your place. You're 10-1. The only loss coming at home was against that Creighton team, who just they shot lights out. It's a good win for Creighton. You thought Nebraska could have played better, but nonetheless, Creighton walks away with it for the win. But again, you got another opportunity. It's year 5. I keep stressing about that because I do think in year 5, this isn't outrageous to think that this is a team that can win some of these momentum shifting tides as we're getting closer to March Madness. Yes, it's still plenty far away, but you're seeing more and more updates. And Nebraska, since that was lost to Wisconsin, now more and more people are putting them as one of the first 4 teams out. You don't want to be there, right? You want to keep this momentum alive. You want to keep proving to people why Nebraska basketball is deserving. And I think it starts with Rink Mast. I agree with you. If Jamarcus Lawrence can continue his trend as a true point, that'll help greatly because he's had some moments, especially late in games, where he's really left his mark on the game, whether it's some timely mid-range jumpers, which kind of seems to be his bread and butter when he's trying to get something going for himself. It's just off of 1 foot, driving to his left, quick pull up from the mid-range. But other than that, Casey Tominaga is coming alive a little bit. I know last game was a little bit of I don't want to say slump, just compared to the 28 he dropped when his parents were around. It seemed like a slump, but Juwan Gary...
He needs to have a big night. Williams needs to have a big night. A combination of a few things. Like I said, I think they got to be aggressive and kind of take it to Purdue and don't kind of just let Purdue don't just sit down and roll over. Like no, make them play. It's a game for a reason. And winning games like this and everything like that, I think will help us later on down the line to where. When it does come to around, the March Madness times and everything like that, people can look back upon, I remember how they played and, beat teams like this and everything like that. And it's only going to help you later on down the line.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. And this is the thing too. It's like, even if you don't want to say this, but as a fan, I can say this, even if you don't beat Purdue, keep it close. All right. Those are looked at when it comes to net rankings. You don't just go in there and all of a sudden realize, man, on paper, these guys are just better than us, and then get blown out of the water. Keep it close. Do everything in your power. Make them beat you. It's a game, like you said. They've lost to Northwestern. They got pushed by Illinois. By no means is this an unbeatable team. It's expected of me, at least, that you keep it close, and even better, you go win the game. Those quad wins matter, especially if you're playing the number one team in the country. That's going to reflect on your resume for the rest of the season. So if you want to be one of those first 4 out, or even worse, not even mentioned when we're talking about the tournament, when it gets towards the end of the season, these are those crucial games. These are the games that we're going to point to. You had your chance against Creighton, you lost. You had your chance against Wisconsin, you lost. All right, so those 2 ranked games, you already lost them. That doesn't bode well when you're looking at net rankings. You got a third one. Yes, it's the number one team, but that's what I'm saying. At least make it competitive. That's going to bode a lot better in net rankings as opposed to a 20-point blowout. That's really going to push you out of that March Madness tournament unless you rattle off a series of wins in Big Ten conference play. With that being said, we'll go ahead and throw it to our second break here on the Don't Punt Hour. Got to Mornay Pearsonell, host as always, calling in on the Allo VIP line. I'm Harrison Arns back here at the 1040 Ticket Studios. And be sure to stick around here for Ticket Weeknights, because after this, we'll have What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington. That is a new show that debuted last week, and he'll be going every night from from 9 to 10, but no stars tonight due to weather delays. So we'll have him slide up. He'll go from 8. Then we'll have a replay. And of course, Nebraska basketball post-game show. And since it is the number 1 Purdue team, it is at home. Should be a post-game show. I believe we'll have Eric Strickland in for that one, as well as always Jake Bachman. So don't go anywhere. Plenty left here on Ticket Weeknights on a Tuesday night. Be back in just a second.
You don't think about your roof very often, but you should never take it for granted. Roofing Service Company takes every measure to provide you with the highest quality roofing solution. Whether it's a new roof installation, roof repair, or a re-roofing project, their overall goal is to provide you with a pleasant experience and a long-lasting roof. If you have a need for siding or gutters, they're your place too. Visit roofingservicecompany.com for more info today.
When it comes to joining the Nebraska Army National Guard, you've heard it all before. College, healthcare, signing bonus. But joining is so much more than that. It's setting yourself up for a new and better chapter of your life. I'm Staff Sergeant Paul White, and because of the Nebraska Army National Guard, I'm in control of my career. And when the workday ends, I get to come home to my family. Write your next chapter by joining the Nebraska Army National Guard. For more information, schedule a meeting with me, Staff Sergeant Paul White at nationalguard.com.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
'Tis the season to give the gift of good times. Save up to $3,500 on select models or receive promotional financing discounts on qualified vehicle purchases. With deals on KX Youth motorcycles and KFX Youth ATVs, TRX side-by-sides, and more, there's no shortage of savings and good times to be had by the whole crew. Don't miss the 'Tis the Season sales event. Visit Elway Power Sports of Lincoln today. Check them out at elwaypslincoln.com for more detail.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. And Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Babe, pack your bags. We're going to Vegas.
Vegas?
We just got the estimate from the wedding caterer, and we're going to have to elope.
Actually, Members Owned Credit Union is offering no-fee home equity lines of credit. We can borrow what we need with equity from the house.
Wait, so we can keep the bacon-wrapped dates for the cocktail hour?
We can keep the bacon-wrapped dates. From wedding bells to trekking the globe and everything in between, capture your dreams your way with a no-fee Members Owned Credit Union home equity line of credit. Learn more at membersownedheloc.org. Limitations may apply. Equal housing lender.
When it comes to joining the Nebraska Army National Guard, you've heard it all before. College, healthcare, signing bonus. But joining is so much more than that. It's setting yourself up for a new and better chapter of your life. I'm Staff Sergeant Paul White, and because of the Nebraska Army National Guard, I'm in control of my career. And when the workday ends, I get to come home to my family. Write your next chapter by joining the Nebraska Army National Guard. For more information, schedule a meeting with me, Staff Sergeant Paul White at nationalguard.com.
A lot of work goes into making Nebraska, Nebraska. Keeping it green. Helping it thrive. Making it fun. Everything that goes into caring for our outdoors, from waters to wildlife, plays a big role in making Nebraska home. Learn how we help conserve our state's natural resources at outdoornebraska.org.
Paid for by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
As the chief buffet officer here at Pizza Ranch, I get all kinds of buffet questions. Here's one from Cole.
Is there a real cactus in your cactus bread?
Great question, Cole. No, there is no cactus in our cactus bread, just sweet cinnamony streusel. It's on our buffet every day, along with pizza, chicken, ice cream, and all your other favorites. Even better, at least for your parents, kids eat free on Tuesday nights. And don't worry, Cole, there's no coal in our coleslaw either.
Pizza Ranch, everyone's favorite buffet.
In a world where quality tools make the dream work, let Sunbelt Rentals be your unseen team member. Shine bright with our top-notch equipment, dependable for any project size. Witness the difference with tool rental in Lincoln, Nebraska. It's more than just a tool, it's your companion for the perfect job. With Sunbelt Rentals, you're never alone in your project journey. Brighter tasks, better results. Sunbelt Rentals, tools that empower you.
Southeast Community College invites you to check out our spaces ahead of your official campus visit. Our virtual campus tours let you see our campuses and learn more about our programs of study. Then you can schedule your individual visit in person or virtually. Virtual tours of our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, or Milford, and our learning centers are online at southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in to Ticket Weeknights. Harrison Arns back here at the 1040 Ticket Studios on 11th and O Corner. And again, if you guys want to join in, Sartor Heyman text line, you can also join in during What's Brewing with Chance of Brewington. That'll take place right after this one, 402-464-5685. We're talking some Nebraska hoops here. As of always, we'll have the Nebraska basketball postgame show after they play Purdue at the Vault tonight. But let's keep it on some basketball conversations here. In particular, DeMornay Pearsonell, there's some teams here in the NBA where things are getting a little bit hairy. The Memphis Grizzlies had the grand opening of the season, and it ended twice in the same year. Ja Morant out, season-ending injury with a torn labrum in the shoulder. Not looking great for the Grizzlies, but outside of that, there's some other teams as well. You look at the Lakers, you look at the Suns. Those are the twos I really want to talk about. The Lakers down the stretch have been abysmal. I believe they've only won 3 of their last 10. They're sitting just below 500. This Lakers team, you look at the talent they have around them. You never want to count out LeBron, but where's the panic button when it comes to talking about the Los Angeles Lakers? How close are you to it that they can make any sort of run as we get closer to postseason play?
The hand is hovering over it, barely about to touch it. It's a talented roster, and I don't understand, how.
Now hold on, talented roster.
I mean, they got some guys that can play. All these guys are in the NBA, so I mean, clearly you're there for a reason.
Okay, yeah. I mean, but okay.
LeBron and AD can't do everything, so I don't know. With mixing things up or trading players, I'm not understanding like what's not gelling, what's not working. Something needs to change completely.
Yeah. I think you're right. It's got to be through trades somehow. The problem is the reason why I question they got talented players. Yes, they're all in the NBA. They're all good basketball players, but much like the Detroit Pistons, they're all good basketball players. Not a great team. So LeBron James, Anthony Davis, those are the guys. Very obvious. Those are the guys you don't want to ever count out. But you look at D'Angelo Russell, it hasn't been quite the fabulous return to Los Angeles that I think he hoped it was going to be. Rui Hachimura, he was fantastic in the playoffs, but he doesn't really seem like a guy you can rely on consistently. Cam Reddish, Taurean Prince, Christian Wood, Max Christie, Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, Austin Reeves, Jackson Hayes, Jalen Hood, and then we can go on and some of the guys that aren't even getting minutes. But that's my point. I probably named, out of all those players on the actual lineup, I'd love for fans to actually point out who these guys are in the lineup. I mean, these are names that not a lot of people will be able to point out. This is the problem with the Lakers is it feels like once again, it's here you go, LeBron, figure it out. Like you got to get some guys around LeBron James. You look at the Phoenix Suns, they got Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and they're one game above 500. With that lineup. And to me, that's a little more defensively as well. But to me, the Lakers, it just seems like a skill gap.
You got all these superstars or all these guys that are used to having the ball and doing something all on one team. So you got a lot of individuals who are used to, being that guy and you're trying to figure it out. So I don't know if you work a trade out with getting 1 or 2 of those guys out of there to slow things up or whatnot. I'm not sure, but I rather would have the Suns problem than the Lakers problem, honestly.
Oh, yeah. With the Suns, you just have to sit down with Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, and Devin Booker and just say, which one of you guys wants to play defense? Offensively, we're great. We're fantastic. We put up a lot of points per game. Defensively, this was the conversation going in with the Phoenix Suns is, yes, you're going to score a lot of points, but who can you stop? And they haven't been able to stop people very effectively. Phoenix Suns, that was going to be my next team we talked about. They're same story. They're one game above 500. Lakers are one game below 500. And both teams argue the Suns even more have a star-studded starting lineup. Are you panicking on the Phoenix Suns? Is this year going to be kind of a disaster when it comes to just having a scoring explosion experimental team?
No, I'm not panicking at all because it can be fixed. Somebody needs to have if somebody has to, have a real conversation. Okay, first half we need you more so on the defensive half, on the ball. The second half, switch off with the people. But I mean, at the end of the day, you got to play basketball. You can't just be a scorer and only that. I think the whole team has to step up, including the stars. I think the coach has to hold, those guys to a higher standard to get them to play better on the defensive end. Or is it going to be some of the same old stuff? So I wouldn't panic at all for the Phoenix at all.
All right, then one last team to kind of wrap it up here. A team that's on the opposite end. They're currently dominating the Magic at 90-66 in the third quarter with about 11 minutes, 30 seconds to go. The Minnesota Timberwolves. They have been dominant. Rudy Gobert, I think, went from a lot of people's least favorite players to watch to being very well respected for defensively what he is doing for that Timberwolves lineup. It's about a 15-point differential when he's on and off the court. Defensively, he is a massive impact, and the Timberwolves stand head and shoulders above everyone in the Big Ten West, in the Western Conference, in the NBA at 25-10, above another young, scary team who has a plethora of picks and doesn't have to do anything if they don't want to. 24-11, OKC Thunder, but at third, of course, the Denver Nuggets, 26-12. One of the ones more people are more certain of. But the Timberwolves, is this a finals contender? They're 25-10. Their defense has been borderline the best, if not arguably one of the best three. How good are the Timberwolves? And with Anthony Edwards leading the charge behind a stout defense led by Rudy Gobert, is this a finals contender team?
I don't think so. I think the West still has to go through Denver, and Denver is in a different category of their own. This may be, a conference champion of the conference championship, but they're closing in to having, a finals team. I think they're still a few steps away, and like I said, you still have Denver to go through, which I think, Denver will probably be right back in. We'll be right back into things.
Yep, and we have one from the text line here, Augie. How long until the Celtics implode? Wait till the Eastern Conference Finals. They'll be on schedule as always. So that's when you got to wait for the Boston Celtics. You get to that Eastern Conference Finals. That's when the implosion tends to happen. But with that being said, we'll wrap it up there with some hoops talk, as of course, in the spirit of Nebraska basketball playing the #1 team in the country at the Vault tonight versus Purdue. Be sure to root for the Huskers as they're 10-1 at home currently. Their only loss coming to Creighton on their home court. So good opportunity, get some momentum, get the eyes, attention on this program here in the Midwest. But that's going to wrap it up for us on the Don't Punt Hour. Shout out to DeMornay Pearsonell calling in, host of the show on the Allo VIP line. Don't go anywhere. We have What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington up next. And then from there, we'll have a replay and then plug you into the postgame show directly after that. So plenty ahead here yet on Ticket Weeknights. We'll talk to you guys in a little bit.